I'm here a couple of days early in Osaka before the Go Fest event officially kicks off, and I thought what better opportunity than to hunt down a box copy of Pokémon Green. Now, I'm a long-term Pokémon player. My first Pokémon game was Pokémon Blue way back in 1998. My starter was Squirtle, and I remember taking my cartridge down, begging my mum to take my cartridge down to the Toys R Us so I could get Mew implanted on the cartridge. That was one of the best days of my life, and so here I am, with a couple of days spare. I used to come here twice a year for around about 10 years, so this is a pretty familiar space for me, but one of the things that I haven't done is really had a specific mission to hunt down a specific game here in Japan. And so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm expecting to see a lot of copies of Pokémon Green boxed up, but I'm expecting to see some really high price tags. So really our mission is to find it as cheap as possible and hopefully show you guys what some of the options are for retro games here and what some of the best value is across the board. So we'll be looking at a range of different Pokemon games, but for me, I'm gonna be looking for boxed Pokemon Green. Let's get searching. As a total side note though, we need sustenance to be able to do this, and this is the best ice block around. It costs you about 80 yen. It is kind of like always voted the #1 best ice block in Japan. I love it so much that I actually have a tattoo of this mascot on me. That's how much I love it. It's so good. It's like kind of like bubblegum and eyes, and I just wouldn't hunt Pokemon Green without it, so I had to throw this in there. Shout out, its name is Gary Gary Kun. Get it from any Lawson's or Konbini. Gary Gary Kun. Just look at it. I mean, it looks like a standard sort of thing, but there's like an extra layer of ice on the inside that's different to the layer on the outside. I don't know what that's about, but at the risk of turning this into like a mukbang video or something like that, I'm not gonna make you watch me eat this whole thing, but I do want to say it's voted #1 in Japan for a reason. All right, let's get back to shopping. So that book off was pretty good. I mean, it had everything that we wanted, but those prices were pretty high. I don't know if they're actually low comparative to some of the other stores we've been to, given it's only the first one that we're at, but it's a bit expensive. But Fire Red definitely seems to be in mass quantities. You can get that for around about 12,500 yen, which is the lower out of the red, blue, and greens. But green definitely was the highest. Surprisingly, blue was up there as well at around about 20,000. But I mean, they had everything in mass quantities. You can buy just the cartridge itself without the box for around about 4,000 yen. So, I mean, if that's just your thing and you just wanted to get red, blue, and green, you could get that for just over 100 bucks, which is pretty good. But let's move on to the next store. We'll come back to this one if those actually turn out to be good deals. Our second Bookoff location here unfortunately had no copies of boxed Pokemon Green, which was really surprising given just up the road there was so many of them. I mean, so many of them, they were practically giving them away. Well, they weren't. They were obviously very expensive, but here there wasn't even a single copy of anything. Even Fire Red was more expensive, but that makes sense given we are just like in the heart of Dotonbori, so it makes sense, like, you know, this is a bit, I don't know, tourist trappy, I guess. I wouldn't bother with this Bookoff. There was some cool stuff in here to definitely look at, but everything seemed far more expensive than the first Bookoff that we went to. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, the third Bookoff also had very limited supplies of Pokemon Green. It didn't have any boxed versions. They had one copy of it, and it was just cartridge plus manual, and it was around about 70 bucks. It was like 7,000 yen. Interestingly though, Pokemon Yellow, which was again cartridge and manual only, no box, was 9,000. So it was more expensive than Pokemon Green, which really speaks to, you know, how much chance you have of discovering a great deal when you go to all these different Bookoffs that are around here. But again, there was just so many more copies of Pokemon Green at that first Bookoff that we went to. It's still the first and best out of all the ones that we looked at, but that's the end of the Bookoffs that we're looking at now. Now we're gonna go to a place called Super Potato and some other retro gaming stores, which I am expecting are gonna have pretty high prices because they're specialty stores compared to the Bookoffs that we've been going to, which are just general secondhand and sometimes have Pokemon. So let's move into more of the retro gaming territory and see if we get some more, I wouldn't really say deals, but some more options there. Okay, I just went to Admski now to try and see if they had any copies of Pokemon Green, but they had some cool Pokemon stuff. They didn't have a very big game selection though, but the actual Pokemon selection was pretty cool. I mean, they had a really old, what looks like maybe Generation 1 Pikachu, because it's one of those fat Pikachus, for 400 bucks. Now that sounds really expensive, but given how good condition this plush novelty is, I think that's a pretty good deal. I thought that was pretty cool. There was also Zapdos. There was some other cool stuff in there as well. And one of the things I got was the Squirtle amiibo. You remember at the start I mentioned Squirtle was my starter Pokemon. So even though that's not particularly, you know, that collectible, given the quality of the collectibles in there, it was just something I thought, I'll pop this out of the little case and I'll throw them on the desk or something maybe. But if you're in the area, don't expect too much in terms of video game collectibles here. But if you want like really vintage collectible stuff, like just general collectibles, even non-Japanese collectible stuff, like Admski was sick. I love this place. So Super Potato was so cool. Like, I mean, I wanted to go to this store for a while and it did not disappoint in terms of what it stocked, but those prices, oh, I have a bit of a cold coming on. My eyes are already dry, but let me tell you, my eyes are no longer dry. My eyes are watering. Those prices were absolutely insane. They wanted 6,000 yen for a Pokemon Blue. They wanted something like 25,000 yen for a damaged copy of Pokemon Blue in the box. And it says heavily damaged for 25,000 yen. And then I also saw a Pikachu 3DS boxed up. I got that in Australia for 300 bucks. They want over $900 here. Like, that's just crazy. That's crazy. And it was like, oh, and chargers sold separately. It's like, yeah, those prices. I mean, Super Potato has a reputation for having really high prices, so I guess I'm not that surprised, but in the same way, I'm like, those prices, it's almost like a joke. I mean, I'd come to check it out, but yeah, I'm not buying anything there. All right, Retro TV Game Revival is the last stop for today, and when I went inside, those prices were probably not as bad as Super Potato, but they were pretty bad at the same time. It's a really cool store, don't get me wrong. I think you should come by and check it out, but I mean, they wanted something like 6,000 yen for like a Pokemon Blue that almost had its entire label scratched off. I mean, there was green there was red there, but there was no boxed versions and everything was in pretty bad condition for the price that they wanted. But having said that, really cool store, and it's kind of close to Super Potato. So if you're gonna come to Super Potato, may as well come check it out. But that means that's all of our stores checked out. That means there's only one option left. There's only one thing left to do. Okay, so we got it. We got Pokemon Green from the Bookoff in Shinsaibashi Bookoff, which is now my favorite Bookoff. I mean, we looked at other Bookoffs. You saw that. And the quality of the stuff in there varied wildly. I mean, this was the first Bookoff that we went to, and it was the best. I mean, you can see there's really not that much damage on the box. I mean, there's a little bit, like you wouldn't say this is mint, but I mean, it cost me 26,000 yen, so about 260 bucks. I wanted to pay 200 for it, so it's a little bit higher. There was 10% off with the tax, so that lowers it a little bit, but I'm just really glad I have it. I mean, this is a game, I guess technically I never played this game, but the whole red, blue, green really has a special place in my heart. And so I'm just really glad to have this. This is gonna really mean a lot to have it on my shelf. I mean, look at the back of these games, right? Like back in the day, I remember going to the store and buying the game, and then you'd get in the car and you'd be driving home with your mom and you just look at you'd look at the two screenshots because that's all you had until you got home. You'd maybe even bust out the instruction manual and just read it because that's as close as you could get to the game until you got home. But I'm so glad to have this. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. Hopefully it was helpful. Definitely go check out some of these retro stores. I mean, they're so cool, but prices vary so wildly. So unless it's something you can only get at that store, I would definitely shop around and definitely check out those Bookoffs. And don't buy the first thing you see. Like the Bookoff that we went back to at the end was the first Bookoff that we went to, and this was still available. So, I mean, you may have some bad luck, but it is worth checking prices and you can always go back. A lot of these places are close together. As you'll see in the Google map. I'm gonna put a link to all of these different locations in the description below, and you can go to all these places and you'll see they're all really close to each other. So there's really no issue with going, you know, to Dotonbori and sort of just having a look around, going a little bit out to like Denden Town, which is literally the next suburb, if you'd even call it that. They're really close together. But Tomorrow we are going to the Pokemon Cafe. I'm so excited to check that out. Then on Thursday, we will be jumping into the Pokemon Go content because that is when Go Fest officially kicks off. We got Gigantamax Rillaboom, we got Sword and Shield, we got Crown Swordization, Crown Shieldization. I'm so tired. I need to catch up on some sleep, so I'm gonna go do that. But if you wanna make sure you don't miss those videos, please subscribe. It means a lot to me, and I make sure that you don't miss those videos too. But I mean, this is one of those games I'm just not gonna play. It's gonna sit on my shelf, but I'm gonna do what I did when I was a kid and just look at the back of it for the next hour or so and get some rest. But I'll see you in those videos. I can't wait to go to the Pokemon Cafe tomorrow.